We want, like you, a sovereign and prosperous Ukraine. But we must start by recognizing that returning to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders is an unrealistic objective.
Yikes. Shameful to see the United States of America surrendering sovereign European territory to the terroristic fucking state of Russia that has now invaded and stripped from a European country part of its sovereign recognized territory. We had the breakup of Yugoslavia, which was a lot messier, I think, and a little bit harder to know for sure. Like, shit, this is like a fuck thing or whatever, in terms of the country staying together or not. Back in 92, right? Wait, fuck. Breakup, Yugoslavia. When it formally totally split into a different country. Was that in like 91, 92? But other than that, the borders have been pretty stable in Europe, and now we just have Russia fucking shit up.
Chasing this illusionary goal will only prolong the war and cause more suffering. A durable peace for Ukraine must include robust security guarantees to ensure that the war will not begin again. This must not be Minsk 3.0. That said, the United States does not believe that NATO membership for Ukraine is a realistic outcome of a negotiated settlement.
Damn, so Ukraine gets fucked on everything? No NATO, no security guarantees, no territory, like it loses territory. Like, does Ukraine get anything out of it? Why wouldn't they just fight forever then? Why don't they say, oh, fuck it, we're just going to literally fight until we're all dead?
Instead, any security guarantee must be backed by capable European and non-European troops.
What? Wait, I'm so sorry. Like who? Who else? I'm ignorant at this point. What other military alliances exist beyond NATO? BRICS isn't even considered a military alliance, is it? Right? No, it's just economic. Same thing with the EU, right? Who else besides... Are there any other like economic... Or I'm sorry, not economic. Are there like other military alliances? There could be that. I just don't know. Wasn't there one that existed that Tulsi didn't know and everybody's making fun of her for, but I've never heard of it before? What am I thinking of?
Instead, any security guarantee must be backed by capable European and non-European troops.
ASEAN,
if these troops are deployed
whatever?
as peacekeepers to Ukraine at any point, they should be deployed as part of a non-NATO mission, and they should not be covered under Article 5.
So then what? So what? Is it going to be UN peacekeeping forces? Can you deploy UNEF? Is it UNEF, emergency force? Can you deploy that if a member on the Security Council vetoes it? Is Russia going to be okay on the Security Council approving peacekeeping troops to prevent their own invasion of Ukraine?
There also must be robust international oversight of the line of contact. To be clear, as part of any security guarantee, there will not be U.S. troops deployed to Ukraine. To further enable effective diplomacy and drive down energy prices that fund the Russian war machine, President Trump is unleashing American energy production and encouraging other nations to do the same. Lower energy prices, coupled with more effective enforcement of energy sanctions, will help bring Russia to the table. Safeguarding European security must be an imperative for European members of NATO. As part of this, Europe must provide the overwhelming share of future lethal and non-lethal aid to Ukraine. Members of this contact group must meet the moment.
Well, I don't understand why we didn't just end the war on day one then. If the negotiation was going to be Ukraine, you lose everything, no territory, no reparations, no security guarantees, you're just fucked. Then why didn't we could have done this on day one. I could have negotiated this. Hey, Putin, here's the deal, okay? You win everything. Oh, That's a day one negotiation. What are we waiting for on this?
This means donating more ammunition and equipment, leveraging comparative advantages, expanding your defense industrial base, and importantly, leveling with your citizens about the threat facing Europe. Part of this is speaking frankly with your people about how this threat can only be met
with European resistance, not with NATO, because the U.S. doesn't want fuck all to do with you anymore, because we're just going to sit over here on the other side of the Atlantic gooning.
Part of this is speaking frankly with your people about how this threat can only be met by spending more on defense. 2% is not enough. President Trump?
2% for what? Oh. Now? Oh, hold on. Oh. Now they know what the NATO spending is for. You need to spend 5% because you said before, no NATO troops, no Article 5 defense, no joining NATO, but you need to spend 5%. You need to spend more on your militaries. This isn't spending to bring you up to what a NATO country should spend as. This is spending to bring you up to where hopefully the U.S. doesn't have to do fuck all anymore to help you. It's just you guys are, it's every country for themselves. That's cute that we would use a NATO spending leverage point, talking point here to not have any kind of NATO obligations.
Has called for 5%. And I agree.
What a waste of all of our training and all of our military. It was like the one good thing the U.S. had was like our military shit at least. And now we just do nothing, I guess, with it. So do they want other NATO countries to increase spending, but the U.S. doesn't have to increase? It's not about the spending. It's about them not relying on NATO. That's what they want. By they, I mean the U.S. The U.S. wants them to not have to rely on NATO, the European countries, and they just need to spend more on the military so the U.S. doesn't have to do anything. This is so lame. I thought, like, we should be like losing a war, and then that's how you lose your position in the world. Not because of Fox News hosts. It's so cringe. No, Destiny, this 5% means that European states need to buy more American weapons to ensure NATO. It's about spending. Yeah, but it's not about NATO. It's about the European countries being able to defend Ukraine without NATO. I think that's the point of this. That's what it sounds like. Hegseth has been more coherent than Rubio since confirmation. Honestly, he literally doesn't have the political mandate to push for NATO membership, nor the role where he could do so. I don't know what that is supposed to be a response to, but Trump is unironically about to cause the disintegration of NATO. Ask yourself, what would happen if Putin decides to invade the Baltics after peace in Ukraine with his war machine well up and running? I don't know. I don't think that Putin wants to anymore, but like, isn't this hurting Russia? That's my understanding, but
how about flat land?
How about repudiating national debt? What does repudiating mean in this context? Like to disavow it? What do you mean? Kill me, this Gulf of America, bro. Kill me. Are we going to name it like American Ocean 1 and American Ocean 2 for the Pacific and the Atlantic next, or?
Thank you. When and where do you plan on meeting with Vladimir Putin? And were there any preconditions set to agree to this meeting?
No, we had a great call, and it lasted for a long time, over an hour this morning. I also had with President Zelensky a very good call after that. And I think we're on the way to getting peace. I think President Putin wants peace, and President Zelensky wants peace, and I want peace. I just want to see people stop getting killed. We're very far away from that particular war, but that's a vicious war. Probably 1.5 million soldiers killed in a short period of time. I've never seen anything. I have pictures that are, you wouldn't believe it. You wouldn't believe what you have to look at. Young, beautiful soldiers that are just being decimated. And it would be nice to end it immediately. But we had a very good talk with, people didn't really know what President Putin's thoughts were, but I think I can say with great confidence he wants to see it ended also. That's good. And we're going to work toward getting it ended, and as fast as possible. It's a horrible situation going over. It's flat land, and the bullet goes off, and the only thing it can hit is a body, a human body, a young human body.
How does he repeats these same things over and over and over and over and over and over.
Body. And they're losing just tremendous numbers of mostly soldiers. The cities and towns have been largely demolished. It's a shame what's happened to that country. It would have never happened if I were president. That I can tell you. It would have never happened.
Motherfucker, you are president right now, and it's still happening. So why do you think it would have never happened? It happened from 2016 to 2020 or 2017 to 2021. Like, you're still president. You were president then. Not, like, you didn't do anything to stop any of this. You're not doing anything right now to stop any of this. Why? Like,
it's to look at that. And October 7th would have never happened either, by the way. Middle East.
October 7th. Well, okay.
But we'll get it. I think we'll get it. We'll get something done. We're going to be meeting Actually, tomorrow they're meeting in Munich, as you know, and we're going to have some other meetings, and I'll be dealing with President Putin largely on the phone, and we ultimately expect to meet. In fact, we expect that he'll come here. And
Are there any policies or agendas of Trump that you actually are in favor of? Probably not anything. The reason is that because even if he stumbles onto things that I think are probably fine, right now his mode of operation is wholly illegal. Like, just ruling through executive order is not like a great way to rule. And then two, if he stumbles on anything that I think is good, like, I don't know if his motivations for them are good, so I don't even know if I would support it. So, for instance, I think from the very little that I understand, I think like a United States sovereign wealth fund would actually be like pretty cool. But I don't know if he just wants a U.S. sovereign wealth fund so the United States can buy TikTok so that he can use it as his own little personal like social media platform. So I don't know if I would support it or him, you know. Eliminating the penny was fine, I guess, although I don't even know if he did that legally, but
I'll go there, and we're going to meet also probably in Saudi Arabia the first time. We'll meet in Saudi Arabia, see if we can get something done. But we want to end that war. That war is a disaster. It's a really bloody horrible.
Isn't that circular logic? So Trump's always wrong? It's not circular logic. That's logic that works from one direction. So for instance, if you were to ask me, if I was in Nazi Germany, and let's say I wasn't a Nazi, okay, and you would say, well, are there any parts of like Hitler's social plans that you agree with? I would say probably not. Even if there are things that he were doing that I guess I kind of agree with, like I think this might be good, you know, in another context, the whole ideology that he has means that even if there's like some thing that I would support in another context, I probably wouldn't support as part of his overall agenda or regime, right?
Saudi Arabia, see if we can get something done. But we want to end that war. That war is a disaster. It's a really bloody, horrible war.
Saudi Arabia, the first meeting now?
I think so. We think we're going to probably meet in Saudi Arabia the first meeting. Hasn't been set, but not too distant future. We both understand. You know, we know the Crown Prince, and I think it'd be a very good place to meet.
So it sounds like that would just be a meeting between you and Putin and perhaps the Crown Prince, but not President Zelensky.
Probably we'll have a first meeting, and then we'll see what we can do about the second meeting.
Also commit to go to Ukraine?
What about Ukraine?
Did you commit to go to Ukraine?
No, I haven't. I haven't committed to
Would
go
you
to
go?
Ukraine. I would
I don't give a fuck.
think about going. Yeah, I'd think about it. No problem.
As you say today, Mr. President, that if they receive your vision, what is your plan to end this war? Like today's Secretary.
Well, I'm not going to tell you my plan. I can just tell you we've made a lot of progress. This should have been done by Biden, not by me, because this has been going on for now a long time, years. And it should have been done by Biden. Just like the young gentleman that I brought home yesterday after 2 weeks. We worked on it for 2 weeks. He was a fine man, and he was in there for 3.5, almost 4 years. And they weren't able to do a thing, and I got him out. And as you know, I didn't pay $6 billion. I didn't pay anything. We did a trade, and we did a good job. We got him out in 2 weeks. It should have been out years ago. Really should have been out years ago.
Post NATO membership for Ukraine.
I don't think it's practical to have it, personally. I know that our new Secretary of Defense, who's excellent, Pete, made a statement today saying that he thinks it's unlikely or impractical. I think probably that's true. I think long before President Putin, they said there's no way they'd allow that. This has been going on for many, many years. They've been saying that for a long time, that Ukraine cannot go into NATO. And I'm okay with that. I just want the war, whether they are or they're not. But it certainly would seem to be that most people have said that is something that's not going to happen.
The Department of Defense paid $32,000 to replace 25 coffee cups and hundreds of thousands of dollars for soap dispensers. DOGE is needed. In October 2024, a 2-year audit by the Defense Department Inspector General found Boeing overcharged the Air Force by 8,000% for soap dispensers that the service branch paid $149,072 over market price for of a selected 46 spare parts that were scrutinized by the audit. The report found that the Air Force overpaid about $1 million for 12 of them for its C-17 transport planes. Why is he saying that DOGE is needed when these things were discovered by the Inspector General, the Office of Inspector General for the DoD? What part of this needs DOGE? I thought there were no audits. I thought nobody was checking for this kind of fraud. Like, what is the point of saying this? You know, like, this is why we need DOGE. Why? It sounds like this was found by the Office of Inspector General, which is literally their fucking job. That's literally their job. Like, how would DOGE even do this type of auditing? Does DOGE know what parts should be charged for or how much money any of this should actually cost? Like, DOGE wouldn't even be qualified to figure out any of this. Like,
Are you freezing out President Zelensky of this process a bit? Isn't there a danger of that?
No, I don't think so, as long as he's there. But, you know, at some point you're going to have elections, too. You're going to have an election.
He wants security assurances, Mr. President. What does that look like?
In terms of what?
If the war were to end, he says he wants guarantees of security.
We'll see what that means. I think when the war ends, one thing he was very strong about, if it ends, he wants it to end And that's President Putin said that. He wants it to end. He doesn't want to end it and then go back to fighting 6 months later. We talked about the possibility, I mentioned it, of a ceasefire so we can stop the killing. And I think we'll probably end up at some point getting a ceasefire in the not.
What would be the point of showing people's nationalities on social media like you want regulated when that Ian retard is not American and so influential on Twitter? I don't think most people know that that guy's not American. And I just think it would be really interesting so I could see how many Chinese flags and how many Russian flags are thrown up when all these people are supposedly American supporting America. I just think I think it would change the way that people would view a lot of these accounts. Because I think the majority of them are foreign accounts that Elon Musk is like retweeting and everything all the time, called like American Dad or Christian Mom MAGA Forever or whatever.
Too distant future.
Do you expect Ukraine?
Say it, what?
Do you view Ukraine as an equal member of this peace process?
It's an interesting question. I think they have to make peace. Their people are being killed, and I think they have to make peace.
We will continue to provide.
I said that was not a good war to go into, and I think they have to make peace. That's what I think.
Why did you decide to provide support to Ukraine? Would you support Zelensky ceding territory or exchanging territory in any agreement to end war?
Well, he's going to have to do what he has to do, but, you know, his poll numbers aren't particularly great, to put it mildly. He's got a country
Is that
where,
even true?
You know, it's been.
Wait. Can somebody link me recent Zelensky poll numbers? I thought they were still really high. Is this just a Russian talking point that I've heard, or?
His poll numbers aren't particularly great, to put it mildly. He's got a country where, you know, it's been savaged and attacked, and he's got an army that's been very, very brave, actually, despite the fact that, you know, we've given him, in my opinion, $350 billion. That's what the real number is. You don't hear that number. And Europe has given, in my opinion, $100 billion. And they've done it in the form of a...
How can you have an opinion on that? My opinion is we've given them, you know, almost 100% more than we've said. Also in dollars, all of this? Like, what, like... That's just your opinion? What do you mean, your opinion?
Been very, very brave, actually, despite the fact that, you know, we've given him, in my opinion, $350 billion. That's what the real number is. You don't hear that number. And Europe has given, in my opinion, $100 billion. And they've done it in the form of a loan. And I have a Secretary of Treasury right now who's actually quite brave. He's over in Ukraine on a train. And there's a lot of things happening around that train that aren't so good. And he's going there to get a document done where we're going to be assured that we're going to, in some form, get this money back, because we're putting up far more money than Europe, and Europe is in far more danger than we are. We have an ocean in between. Europe has nothing in between. You know what they have in between? They have Ukraine in between. So wait a minute. So, as you know, Europe is putting up money. They're getting it in the form of a loan. And the United States under Biden didn't do loans. They just handed money every time somebody walked in from Ukraine. They just handed them money foolishly. This should have never happened. It should have never started. And once it did, other things should have happened. Other things should have taken place. So we're getting security on our money. We're going to have it secured by, they have raw earth, and they have oil and gas, and they have a lot of other things. And
Fuck, raw earth?
we're asking for security on our money.
How long does Zelensky have?
They've agreed to it. Ukraine has agreed to it.
Doesn't mean you are not sending any more aid to Ukraine.
No, we are, but we want it secured. And the money.
War rally fades for Ukraine leadership. So this is for November 21st, 2024. So his approval is at 60%. So it's definitely gotten lower, but like unpopular? Trump wishes he had a 60% approval rating. Okay.
Money is going to be secured.
When would the U.S. stop sending funding? When would the U.S. stop sending funding?
Because if we didn't do that, then Putin would say he won. We're the thing that's holding it back. And frankly, we'll go as long as we have to go, because we're not going to let the other happen. But President Putin wants to have peace now, and that's good. And he didn't want to have peace with Biden. And you tell me why that is, okay?
Was that conversation with Putin to start these negotiations part of the deal to bring Fogel home?
No, but it was a nice thing that he allowed Mark Fogel to leave. In fact, Mark wasn't feeling well, but he was, all of a sudden, about 2 weeks ago, he started being treated very nicely. He said they took him out for haircuts. They took him out. They helped him out a little bit and made him feel better, made him look better. And they were nice to him. And he said, I saw something happening. And it coincided with when I came into office. So that was nice. And he's a fine person. He was so happy to be out. He was there for 3.5 years plus, and he shouldn't have been there at all. They should have had him out much faster than that.
Wow.
Wait, go ahead, please.
Sorry, sir, just to be clear, do you see any future in which Ukraine returns to its pre-2014 borders?
Well, I think Pete said today that that's unlikely, right? It certainly would seem to be unlikely. They took a lot.
Wait, excuse me, sir. Why are you talking? Somebody needs to raise their hand and say, sir, why are you saying that that's unlikely? Don't you want to not talk about this because it weakens your negotiating position? Why would you reveal this now?
Well, I think Pete said today that that's unlikely, right? It certainly would seem to be unlikely. They took a lot of land, and they fought for that land, and they lost a lot of soldiers. But it would just seem to me, and I'm not making an opinion on it, but I've read a lot on it, and a lot of people think that that's unlikely. Some of it will come back. I think some of it will come back. Yeah.
I've read a lot. That's the biggest lie he's ever said in office. Do you see Ukraine giving up territory this late into the war? Unfortunately, yeah. I guess the question is just how much. Like at first, I figured it was Crimea for sure, and then I thought that the places in the Donbass. But now, is it? What's the land bridge cities Is Mariupol one of the ones down there? Or like now I don't know. Are they giving up like a whole land bridge as well? Does anybody have a link to the current, like how much Russia owns? Oh, Zaporizhia? Mariupol? That would never happen. What would never happen? Them giving up the whole land bridge? Like, Jesus. Holy fuck. Like, are they giving up this whole land bridge? Is that what's going to happen? Are they going to actually, or is Russia really giving all this land back? The Russian state has annexed by law more than they control. Russia has already formally annexed it, so they will never give it back. This is a Daily Mail. I feel like Daily Mail is the last publication I would trust for a leaked peace plan. Reported by Ukrainian outlet Strana. What is this format? It looks like the CSS failed to load or something. Maybe? I don't know what the fuck is going on with this. Ukraine banned from joining NATO and must declare neutrality. Ukraine withdraws from Kursk. European and UK soldiers, police demilitarized buffer zone. Kiev accepts Russian sovereignty of annexed land. This would just be insane, bro. There's no way. Or maybe there is. I mean, why am I saying there's no way? Like there's nobody, I guess, to stand. Fuck, hold on one sec. Okay, sorry. It's a guy here seeing why my washing machine is screaming whenever it's running.
Some of that land will come back.
This is pretty normal. Large nuclear power does some crazy shit, takes land and stalemate ensues. Then they get what they want from rest of world. I feel like historical wise, this pattern happens all the time. We don't even have that much history on nuclear powers. What are you talking about? Nuclear powers existed for like 80 years. What? Also, I don't think this has traditionally like happened much since 91, since the fall of the Soviet Union.
These are both Russian.
Who are you with?
Sorry, me.
Yeah.
AFP.
You who?
AFP, Agence France Presse.
Okay.
I just wanted to ask you, the things that the Secretary of Defense was talking about, the 2014 borders and the lack of NATO membership. Ultimately, these are both demands that Russia has made in the past. Is there not a danger of handing Russia a kind of win on this?
Well, I think that if you look at the war, the way the war is going, you'll have to make your own determination. I'm just here to try and get peace. I don't care so much about anything other than I want to stop having millions of people killed. Last night, Kiev got hit very, very hard. I want to see people stop getting killed. That war is ridiculous. It should have never happened, and it would have never happened. Yeah, a couple of more questions.
Are you planning to sign an executive order of reciprocal tariffs, sir?
Yes, I am. In fact, I may do it today, and if I do it today, I could almost do it right now. Would you like me to talk about it now? I don't want to take anything away from this young lady's day, because this is her day, and I may do it later on, or I may do it tomorrow morning, but we'll be signing reciprocal tariffs. The world has taken advantage of...
Wait, reciprocal tariffs on who for what? Is this related to China?
The United States, for many years, they've charged us massive tariffs that we haven't charged them. And as you know, I just did something on steel and aluminum, 25%. And that'll go up at some point, but 25%, which will level the playing field quite a bit. I did it previously 50%, and Obama was very weak, and Biden was even weaker.
Okay. Trust in armed forces. Hold on, we gotta watch an advertisement. Trust in armed forces remains strong, while Zelensky's rating drops to 51%. Okay, this makes sense then. More than 90% of Ukrainians trust the armed forces the most. 83% trust state of emergency service, and 80% trust volunteer organizations. So my guess is the trust in Zelensky is falling just as a result of like probably not making huge progress on the war, but probably not so much as like they are ready for Russia to take over and be cool with it, would be my guess. Damn. Okay, what are we gonna do for the next 4 years, guys? I feel like this is depressing shit. Trump hasn't even been in office for a month yet, and every day is just like horrible, depressing news. What are we doing? What's the plan? Jesus.